Of Jesus' agony on the cross is so ingrained in the human psyche that it's difficult to imagine a Christianity without it. But unlike the account of the crucifixion in the canonical Gospels, in the Gospel of Peter, the story of Jesus' ordeal on the cross is one completely devoid of suffering. The text claims that as he was being crucified, he was silent, having no pain. The account also carefully avoids saying that Jesus died. This failure to undergo fundamental human experiences such as pain, suffering and death would have rung alarm bells for many in the early church. Were the supporters of the Gospel of Peter suggesting that Jesus wasn't human? Although Christians today take for granted the idea that Jesus was both man and God, the Gospel of Peter very clearly shows that for the first Christians, this was still a matter of debate. This was a church in confusion, where ideas about the balance between Jesus' humanity and divinity were hotly contested. Was he divine? Was he merely human? Or was he somewhere in between?
الكلام ده فين؟ في العصور الأولى. هم الوقت يقول لك يسوع إله. إن أقرب ناس إلى المسيح كانوا في جدال في الموضوع ده. أنت لا ده هو إله كامل وإنسان كامل. الدليل إيه؟ شنودة بيقول كده.
The people who upheld the Gospel of Peter were at the heart of this conflict. For them, Jesus was purely divine. He only appeared to be human, and his suffering and death were a deception. I can understand their thinking. If Jesus was God, surely he couldn't have suffered. After all, God can't die. After all, God can't die. After all, God can't die. This school of thought came to be called Docetism, a name derived from the Greek word dokesis, which means appearance or semblance. And those who were part of the sect were called the Doceti, literally illusionists, those who believed Jesus' humanity wasn't real. We don't know who wrote the Gospel of Peter, but it certainly wasn't the only tract about the nature of Jesus circulating in the early church. There were other texts promoting alternative ideas. If the Docetic views of Jesus lay at one extreme, then there was another equally controversial group whose views lay at the other. Whilst the Docetists claimed Jesus only appeared to be mortal, this sect believed he was most definitely a human, but one hijacked by God.
أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح
Here in Israel, traces of another lost gospel can be found.
لا
It's a text which shockingly suggests that Jesus, although singled out by God, was born a mere mortal. It was the work of a sect now virtually forgotten, known as the Ebionites. They were Christians, but they were strongly committed to maintaining the Jewishness of their faith. They believed Jesus was the Jewish Messiah sent by God to fulfill Jewish scripture.
شوف يا أخو، في القرن الأول كانوا يؤمنون يسوع رسول إنسان فقط. في القرن الأول، يعني مش الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم بعد 600 سنة، في القرن الأول.
Although this sect were by no means the only Jewish Christians at the time, after all, Jesus had been a Jew, as had all his earliest followers. The Ebionites provoked some of the most vociferous opposition.
يعني ايه مجموعات يهودية مش حلوة؟ تعرف يعني ايه؟ اقول لك يعني الناس هذه لا يصدق عليهم مسيحيين، هم يهود ولكن كانوا يؤمنوا ان عيسى ابن مريم عليه السلام هو المسيح الموعود الذي ارسله الله سبحانه وتعالى. فهمت يا اخوة الكرام؟ ما يعني هم يهود، ما كانوا بيتفقوا على نفسهم مسيحيين، وكانوا بيقوموا بالعادات اليهودية كلها، ولكن يؤمنوا ان المسيح صلى الله عليه وسلم هو رسول الله وهو المسيح المنتظر. هو ده الفرق بس، سامعين؟ هو ده الفرق الوحيد. يعني اليهود لم يرفضوا، قبلوا المسيح على انه قبلوا عيسى ابن مريم على انه المسيح، وكان ماسك جديد خالص، يعني العبادات اليهودية، الصلوات اليهودية، التوراة وكل شيء. إنما بولس هو اللي عمل الدين الجديد المسيحي.
Their name comes from the Hebrew word ebion, meaning poor. It was a term their opponents used to their advantage, accusing them not of being poor in material wealth, but in understanding. Unlike other Christian groups such as the Gnostics and the Docetics, although the Ebionites must have written their own Gospels and treatises, none of them have actually survived. In fact, the only reason we